Hi everyone, welcome back to That Mom. I'm so excited to share with you today. What an exciting season. It's Thanksgiving and Christmas. I'm so excited, but happy Thanksgiving for those of you who are watching this video. We're going to talk today about grace. And this is just something that really had been pressed upon my heart the last several weeks. I have been journaling about it. And you know when there's something on your heart and you kind of just keep on seeing it or reading about it. I was reading through a book that I've been reading last night, and she was talking so much about grace and specifically what I wanted to share, which was having grace for ourselves. And I think as women and moms, it is probably one of the hardest things to do. We can extend grace to our spouses, our kiddos, our friends and family. But when it comes to ourselves, we can be so hard on ourselves and our expectations are so high, and we shame ourselves, we talk down to ourselves, we compare ourselves to others and what they're getting done. And so that's what I wanted to share with you today. And I think for me, the hardest part is that my expectations are so high. I think that I should be able to get everything done, and honestly, that's just not always going to be the case, especially when you have littles. We have a 7-week-old that I shared with you in our last video, and she does not like to be put down. I'm talking like not even for a second. And so I've definitely been just holding her a lot and walking around the house with her. And so it limits what I can get done. And for me, and what I wanted to encourage you with, is that it can feel like a perceived loss when we're not getting things done, like that we're losing, that we didn't do enough, that we weren't enough. And my encouragement to you would just be to focus on the wins, to celebrate the wins. Like, what did you get done? And even though my little does demand a lot of my attention, holding her, rather than looking at that as a loss, looking at it as a win, that we're spending lots of time together, that I get to enjoy her, that it's a short season, and that I know that. And we really focus on that. It really can shift our perspective. I was telling my husband yesterday that there's just days, you know, those days where you just win the day, that you just did such an amazing job, you got everything done, and you just feel like at the end of the day, you're like, I'm winning this day, like I'm doing it. And then there's those days that you lose the day. You're like, the day won me 0. Like, that we can just really embrace the days that we win, because those are great, but then have grace for the days that we feel like it's a loss, and focus on the good and know that tomorrow's a new day. We know in the Word, I wanted to share this scripture with you guys. Let me unlock it. There we go. 2 Corinthians 12:9, and it says, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me." And as I just thought about that verse, I thought, how beautiful is it that His grace is sufficient for us? It's everything. It's enough. It's more than enough. And I think we forget that. I think we shame ourselves into feeling like we somehow aren't doing enough when His grace is sufficient. And if you didn't get everything done, or you weren't maybe the mom you wanted to be today or yesterday, that you don't have to live in that you know that in your weakness, that He's made strong, and that we can depend on Him in those days that do feel like a loss. And something that I really thought about too, was what will matter the most in the big picture? What will matter the most in the long run? Will it be making sure that everything's perfectly clean? Will my daughters remember that mom always had a clean house and it was perfect? Or will they remember that mom was always willing to stop and spend time with me, to look me in the eye, to play Barbies with me, to let me share a story with her, to just really be a part of their lives? And I would just encourage you that that's really what our kiddos are going to remember. So that's what I want to share with you today. Be gracious to yourself, be gracious to those around you, and just know that God's grace is sufficient for you. Those days that you feel like you lost, focus on that one win. Even if it's a tiny win, focus on that. Well, have a great day, and I will catch you next time at That Mom. Bye.